Make sure this live is on. There we are. Perfect. So let me start recording, and it's time to go. I'll start in 3 seconds, shall we? What is up, Facebook? Hey guys, what's up? How are you? Hopefully you're doing well. In this specific section, I'm going to go over a new module that we're creating. So we've done this in the past, but we're kind of expanding it out, and we're expanding it out to an unlimited sub-account access. So what does this mean? This means like unlimited sub-accounts on Lead Connector, unlimited sub-accounts on Play, unlimited sub-accounts on Project Management, unlimited sub-accounts on any and all of the software solutions that we provide. This way you can scale your business without any limitation whatsoever. So that being said, we're going to be covering this within this specific channel. Kind of excited for it. So first things first, though, I want to just make sure this is distributed correctly. It looks like it is. Perfect. So that being said, we're going to dive right into, drawing it out, because we have to draw it out first, right? We have to draw it out first, and then once we draw it out, then we have to create it. So that being said, let's dive right in. So right now I'm just in the gFunnel dashboard. So just like always, how we start is with a blueprint session. So a blueprint session is pretty simple. We jump up, we click the dots in the top, right? There's an application, we jump into diagrams. Now we're in diagrams, okay. So this one is, and we're just gonna call this one unlimited sub-account module. Okay, so what is the benefits of having this? So what it allows people to do is it allows people to use our system, right? Because people like it, it's cool, has a lot of different software solutions. It's pretty awesome, right? So, but now how do we make it so you can use it for your own clients? So there will be a point of impact or influence or data input. So we'll just call this one data, okay? Data input. So data input. So any operation, so kind of stepping back a little bit, any operation starts with data input. From data input, then you have your module. This is like your process, meaning you're processing a result. So you'll have your process, and then you'll have your result. So anytime that I'm drawing, I kind of keep those in my mind, right? I keep what I consider the ACE of business in my mind. ACE is acquire, right? Then create, right? Then expand, right? Or evolve, expand. The ACE of business. The ACE of business is the ACE of operation. The ACE of operations allows us to create kind of any project ever. Okay, so that being said, we're going to dive into that, and we're going to be going through, again, exactly the variables of what we need. So to get things started, so let's just make sure that it's saving. Save. There we go, we got it saved. Cool. So we're going to start. So the very first thing is where, right? Where are people coming in and putting this information in? How are they adding more users? So we have to create an environment that allows them to create new users. So we're not going to do that because that's just a variable, meaning a look variable. Instead, we're going to do the exact actions first. From the exact actions, then we're going to go to the next stage. So the first exact actions is data input. So for a data input, we're going to need either a form or a survey. Okay, in this case, we'll just do form. Okay, and then based on people's, again, and now we have to analyze this forward. So based on people's plans or packages, we can design them different. But in this case, what I'm going to do is I'm going to just make it generic for everybody. Okay, so we have a form. This form is basically you fill this thing out. If you fill this thing out, they get access to everything. That's the idea of this, okay? Fill it out, they get access to everything. So we need a form, okay? And now we get to decide, are we gonna build a form in here, Lead Connector, or are we gonna build a form in Flows? So we're gonna pull up both of these based on the logic, right? So let me pull up Flows really quick. Flows. Okay, boom. And we might do, again, it depends on some of the automations that we have here, right? Um, it kind of depends on that. So if we built it out within here, okay, my suggestion is actually not a form. It's actually going to be a survey because there's some questions that we would ask. So let me delete that guy, okay? But the idea is we'll need some type of a form, and then some type of a form. These specific people will need a few different sections that they're going to choose from. So they're going to come here. There's a few different steps here. So first one would be account details. Those are variables that are needed in the form. So account details. The next one, right, is software details. And then the next one would probably be role details. Right? And we can kind of go like, what do you want them to be? We can say this one's role details. And then software details. Okay, so we need some variables, right? So these variables will help us decide whether we want to, again, how we want to scale this solution, right? So they go in, we say, perfect, fill your name. This is your name, okay? Put their account information in, select their role. What do you want their roles to be? And then from their roles, select the softwares that you desire them to have. Okay, and we'll just keep it that simple for now. Okay, do. Then we need a confirmation. This is a confirmation. That's basically what we need in this form. Okay, so I'm going to grab this guy. I'm going to actually kind of move it over here. Right, so this is in a sense what we need for this form. Okay, now once these happen, right, this is all going to be consolidated data. So this is now our data processor. It's going to grab this data, and then it's going to create a few different things. Okay, so now we have to, let's be more specific. Okay, so what are the details? So let's just jump into details, okay? So details. So in the details, we're probably going to need a full name. Full name, okay? So we need full name, business, right? Full name, business, we'll need your address. Full name, business, address, unless we do a fake address, because we can always do a fake address, right? Address, we'll need email, phone, okay, phone, so full address, business, okay, email, phone, alrighty, and then trying to think if we need anything else on that, anything else, oh, industry. Okay, so that's probably what we need. So if I scroll over that, I can see what we need on there, okay? The next thing is our role details. Our role details, so if I'm going to come in here, details. Okay, our details that we probably need is basically, are they an admin, comma, or are they a user? Okay, admin or user. And then on this one, we're going to need software, right? So we're going to come here, and we're going to say details. And on this one, it's going to be software. So it's going to be like all or a specific. Okay, all or a specific software. And then on this specific one, we're going to need, so their details. We're going to need the registered email, and then a consent. Some type of consent. That way we can do some outreach. Okay. That's basically it. Now, what's going to end up happening, we need, instead of this thing just running, so that way people will have accesses to it, right? Because if somebody has access to this, they can just run it and run it and run it. So we need some type of a limiter right here, right? So we need something here that says, basically check account status. Check account status. Now, why do we need this? So we need to check if that account is an active account, a paid account, or not. Okay. So we need to do those, because if somebody's not paying and they're not current, guess what's going to happen? They can continue doing this process. They continue making money, and then it kind of hurts the company, right? So what we want to do is we want to make sure that they can't do that. Okay, so this is kind of that stop factor. We can put it as red. If there is a red, let's see if there is a red. Red, okay. We'll put it as that color. So that's, in a sense, the idea of this, okay? And now, for this one to move forward, so we'd have to, I'll put some dots here, right? Because these will all come here. It's all going to organize. And the only way for this to go forward, the only way is an on and off switch, basically, to come right here, which is, I'll just put account creation. So if this is the account creation, so we're going to come right here, we would end up putting like a variable here. And I'll put this variable as like an on and off. Okay, on and off switch, and I will just connect this dots right here. So we'd have to have an on and off switch here. Again, to determine what is the status, internally what is the status. This way people can't hack the system, people don't have any control of the system, and the system doesn't go haywire. Okay, so we have to have a checks and balances type system, and this is our checks and balances type system. Okay, the checks and balances will check the account, it'll come in, and now we have account creation. Okay, now with account creation, we have to understand, well, which accounts are we creating? So let's dive back here for a sec. Okay, so the accounts that we currently have, so let's jump into our profile. From our profile, let's jump into here. Alrighty, so we have first lead connector, right? So let's jump in. We have an account, and we have lead connector. Okay. Now, lead connector can probably have a few variables. And what those variables are, so lead connector is all the same besides one thing. And that one thing is a bearer token. So we'll need a default bearer token here to create this account. This way we know, is it creating in our system or is it creating in somebody else's system? That makes sense? So if somebody has their own Go High Level, let's just say, or their own lead connector, how do we create an account within their own space? How we do it with is a specific bearer token, okay? And we'll take a look at that, okay? So that way it is account specific. Okay, it's either ours or it's theirs, right? That's how it works, okay? Boom, account specific. Next thing that we're gonna do, so this is for lead connector. It needs a bearer token to access that. The next thing that we need to do is, let's say we're doing it for play. So we're going to need to come into our RPA. So there's a few different RPAs that we'll need, okay? And I think I can, here, let me pull up and see really quick. I'm just going to see onboarding modules. I think I have it drawn out already, which ones need an RPA and which ones don't need an RPA. Okay, this is our marketing overview. Let's go into our, let me just check. Version 2, onboarding. Here we go. Go. Okay. So we have some systems here. Okay, let's just see what else we have. Based off of that, okay. I'm just taking a look at everything that we have just to see. Okay, I'm just going to do it from scratch a little bit. Okay, so now we're just going to plug this into an RPA. Robotic Process Automation for short. Okay, it's RPA. Plug it into an RPA, and this RPA is going to do a few different things. So first, actually, let me bring this RPA over here. because we also have our Flows AI. So let's just go into Flows AI if somebody needs an account for Flows AI. So Flows AI is going to have a system. Okay, this one's going to have a system. And then these other ones are going to have a system too, the RPA. So let's jump into RPAs. Boom. Okay. So what is an RPA? RPA basically goes through the web or it goes online and does specific things. And it's going to need to do that for a few different softwares. Okay, so one of those software solutions is Play. So if we want to give unlimited Play accounts, we're going to have to run it through Play, right? That's one of the systems. Another one is Giru. Okay, it'll run through Giru and create it that way. Another one that we'll probably do is projects. Git Scrum. Okay, the RPA will run it that way too. It can do it, but the RPA is usually good. The other one that we'll do is Task Magic. Alrighty, so Task Magic, we might have to do this one as a specific limitation, meaning give unlimited accounts based off of their account, based off of, again, which level of account they have, right? But I want them to have that. And then the new one that we have is our API Hub. So API Hub, which is the N8N, or yeah, N8N, right? So we'll have this specific one, which is now on our own server, which we'll build so this way people can come in and build their own workflows, okay? So we'll end up having that. It's not there yet, but we're working on it, okay? The next one that they'll have, let's just see, Play, we have projects. We'll get rid of TeamGPT because TeamGPT is bad. Okay, we'll go jump into Contract Hub. Contract Hub. Okay, let me just check. Meeting room sucks. E-commerce. Okay. Portal, nope. Recruiter, nope. In that one. Okay. So if I upgrade my account, let's just see. This is currently what this plan has. This is currently what this plan has. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of them. Okay, let's just make sure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 of them. So this should cover it for now, unless we add another one, which we'll probably add anyways, right? Like our API Hub here, we'll be adding backends to it. Okay, so we need enough information to be able to get all of this information here. And once we collect it, we need to make sure that it is connecting and creating those specific accounts. And then this will have its own value, right? People would pay for a membership and they can then give out accesses to all of these different systems, and all of these different systems can be accessed through gFunnel. But this is the idea, okay? So this is what we need to build. I don't think there's anything more. So we need forms, so I would put, again, a few different sections, at least 4 sections within here. So if I'm doing that, and I did this here, I would build it in a survey, right? Let me just make sure that the surveys are correct. That's weird. We have surveys. Why are they surveys blank? Let's try it again. Thank you, Lead Connector. We love you. Well, that's loading. So let's just jump back really quick. Whoops. Well, that's loading. Let's just jump back really quick. So again, we're going to have 3 stages of this, in a sense, survey. First one will be the account details, right? We might need multiple people, so there might be a variable to say how many people are we adding to that account. So because there could be multiples, but we'll probably do just single. And if they need multiples, then they can schedule an appointment with us and we can do multiple people. But this is basically the modules that we need, okay? The next thing that we need is we'll create a perception of it. So this would be the stage number 2. And this is a perception that we'll build on top of this. Perception's basically a website that will be built on top of this to make it look a specific way, okay? So I'll just do that. So this way, again, somebody can come in. We would probably do a survey, right? And then we would need the confirmation steps. But this would be the overall gateway to hitting that. And then from here, again, this would come into the API hub, which will create it within the hub so we can have a dedicated link. So this way, if people need to create something for it, they can create a custom API for it in the future. So this will all be built within the API hub. API hub. And that API hub will be built within here. So again, we could come into here. We would, of course, have our webhook. So this webhook would then trigger something, right? So it would be a post request. So it'd be a post request in the specific path, response immediately, authentication. We can say, yeah, we don't need authentication. I mean, we can put it there, but we don't need it. So let's just say listen, stop listening. So now we have an API key, right? So then we can give this API key right here as like a test. Whoops, let me jump back. We'll get a production one. So now we can get this API key. This API key and documentation would be given to somebody and say, do you want to do your own integration? We would have documentation on that, okay? But now we have an API key. And then what we can do is we can then build this out. So this survey would grab this information. That API key would exist right here. This is where that API key is. So right here is where we would plug in so we can bring it right, I mean, technically we can grab this guy and bring it up here, because all of that would be in the API hub, all besides the RPA. The RPA would be its own system, but that's basically how we would build this, okay? And then, yeah, that's it. I would just construct it. I mean, pretty easy, right? So the idea of the live was just to show you really quick how do we structure it, and then we just jump into development. And the development is just coming in here and then just building out its logic, right? Like there'll be a form will be submitted, that form will be submitted into here, and then this will produce its logic. That's how easy this is, right? And then what this will do is this will save the data. We'll go through and we'll build it out because again, we have to have a check status. So it'll do a GET request and check if that specific individual is a paid account. If they are a paid account, then it'll come in and bring them into the system. But that's basically it. So again, this is a quick live on this module. And then the only missing variables are where are we building this survey, right? A few ways of building it. So I think a good way to build it is within Lead Connector if the freaking thing will load. So if it doesn't load, we're going to go directly into our Flows AI and we're going to build it there. But that way, very soon, we're going to have an unlimited account module. And that unlimited account module is going to help people grow and help people expand. So that being said, if you guys have any questions on this type of stuff, again, we're waiting for Lead Connector to load to be able to build this thing out. But basically, this is how that solution works. Overview, again, you have your data input. I'm just going to go over it one more time. You have your data input. That data input goes down to your survey. Your survey collects this information, right? Your account details, which I listed out, the role details, right? The software details, and then the confirmation. That confirmation then triggers a check account. So it checks if that account is a paid or an active account. If it is, again, the data is still going to be processed within there, but if it is, it turns on the switch to fire that webhook. And then it fires that webhook. That webhook will come in and it'll go through the account creation steps. And that account creation steps, based off of what the person selects in the software, will then come in and create their Lead Connector accounts, will create their Play accounts, will create their Guru accounts, their project accounts, their Task Magic, and all of the other software accounts. So pretty easy, right? Pretty simple. So anyways, that's the module. I went right back over it. If you have any questions, let me know. But this module will be new. It'll be given to our members shortly. And basically, I mean, instead of you building out the craziness of it, it's just a survey. It's just having a simple survey, and then that simple survey, right? That simple survey is going to basically get you unlimited accounts. So that being said, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, my name is Cameron Garlick. As always, thanks for watching. This module will be available soon, and I'll put a blog article about this. So this way you can understand, well, what is the importance of creating unlimited sub-accounts for my business? What is the importance of creating an automation that is done for me? Because again, there's some complexities within here. Like I'll explain. We gathered the industry because when creating here, I'll just kind of show you, we're going to have an industry-specific snapshot. And this industry-specific snapshot will then be added. So again, there'll be a bearer token. The bearer token will receive here, and then it'll receive here. So this way we can have a variable snapshot. So it could be either the snapshot that let's say you're an agency and you have a specific snapshot for people. It could be that snapshot, or it could be our industry-specific snapshots could be added to these people. And that's how easy this is. So again, some people are like, well, this is so complex, but to me, this is what I do on a daily basis. It's pretty easy. So if you have any questions on this, feel free to reach out. Anyways, as always, thanks so much for watching. If you have any questions, my name's Cameron Garlick. Feel free to reach out. Thanks so much. We'll see you. Bye.